Hi guys, my name is Addition. You're welcome to Mailbox. We'll be addressing different mails from different people from all over the world. With me is
Olawale.
and my name is Addition. Our first mail is actually from Eunice. Eunice is from Nigeria. Handling a stubborn teenager. Hello, I'm struggling with my 14-year-old brother. He is incredibly stubborn and doesn't listen to anyone. I've tried everything, talking, shouting, crying, flogging, punishing, and even punching, but nothing works. It keeps getting worse no matter what I do. My dad rarely flogs, but when he does, it's extreme, so he avoids it altogether. I'm at wit's end and don't know how to handle him anymore. How do I deal with a teenager who refuses to change? Our mom is late.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the interesting part, and I keep saying this most of the time, that once a child crosses the threshold of 9 years old, it becomes almost impossible for you to change their mind, because there are quite a number of things that comes to play in their lives that probably puts them in a certain position. Now, one of the things I've realized that works essentially for managing anyone created by God is prayers. And sometimes the prayers doesn't even affect them, it affects you, because you might think he's the one that needs to be changed. Maybe God is trying to work on you to be more patient, to be more tolerant. And the moment you get that lesson, you will see that there will be an adjustment in that person's life. Not that it's dependent on you, but you are seeing things from a different perspective. So a lot of people become very obstinate towards you because God is trying to make an adjustment to your particular life. And that's why you see that it looks like the entire world is ganging up against you. This person doesn't listen. Now, we can even attribute some of the behavioral pattern to the mom who passed on, or of some sort. But then again, that's not the extreme, all right? The real extreme is the fact that when there is a situation that needs somebody to be changed, more often than not, it is us that needs to be changed rather than the other person. So God tries to deal with our own situation, right? And if we allow him to deal with that situation, we will see that modification, and then peace will reign eventually. And that's what I've seen. I'm talking about from personal experience now. So the moment you begin to pray for that person, you see that, I mean, the case of Job and his friends, what had happened was that all the other guys were making suggestions as to what needs to be done. The moment Job prayed for his friends, he saw breakthrough, and there was light in a different perspective, or there was light in that situation that helped them, that helped Job coming out of that particular situation.
Okay, so Eunice, I'm actually saying it from a different perspective. I'm seeing so much of your own aggression than even the boy that you claim to be stubborn. So you are punching,
you're beating,
you're shouting, you're crying, there's drama, you're punishing, there's too much chaos going on. Only you on one boy. He won't change, because for even a boy, he will say, bring it on now. You are making him a warrior, actually. You are making him who he's discharging to you.
Right.
It's what you put into people you get back, clearly. And going back to what he has said, it's just God that is showing you that you really need to speak to yourself. Because you can't really see a home that is full of compassion, love, kindness, forgiveness, and all these good qualities. And the fruits would want to remain
that same way.
Stubborn, that same way.
Aggressive.
So why not take it easy on him and then begin to, because you can't be talking with somebody, you're advising somebody and you are being aggressive, you are flogging, you are punishing, you are punching. When do you actually want him to be calm in his spirit to actually listen to you? You know what? That person will be full of a lot of resentment for you. He will be disrespectful. He's a stubborn boy. He will be more stubborn because look at it now, every measures you've taken. And you're even saying that your dad rarely flogs, but when he does, it means that your dad didn't even show you aggression like that. So maybe you want to extend that hand of grace to your brother and try to show love. Maybe if you start doing stuff that you don't even address or talk about and you just ignore or you just overlook, he will begin to say,
something has happened.
Something has happened, and then he does another one. You will now see that as you're practicing that kindness, that compassion, he's beginning to, because most of these fruits, people see it in us than us trying to enforce it or show people, don't you know that I love you? Oh, you love, how are you showing that you love the person? Oh, I care about you. How do you talk so much about being in love or loving somebody or caring for somebody, and you don't show
that's
any
evidence.
pinch of exactly? So I mean, try and, as much as possible, to extend that hand of grace to your brother, and as you do that, I'm sure change will come in. That's that. Eunice from Nigeria. The next mail is from Temi. Temi, we have a lot of mail from Nigerians today. Temi said, absent father's kidney transplants request. From the title, you can know the look and feel. He said, this is a long one. My dad abandoned me and my mom when I was 8 to start a new family. He never supported us financially or emotionally. So I grew up feeling abandoned. Now at 30, his wife has contacted me saying my dad is sick and needs a kidney transplant. She believes I might be the best match because no one in the family is compatible. I refused. I don't feel obligated to help someone who left us to fend for ourselves. Since then, his family has bombarded me with guilt-laden messages, calling me selfish. Even my mom thinks I should reconsider to avoid future guilt if he dies. I don't feel guilty, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm being too harsh. Should I stand firm in my decision, or should I reconsider helping my absent father? Okay,
so there are quite a number of conversations here. One is unforgiveness, and you've got to separate all the issues, right? You've got to totally separate all the issues in this particular matter. One of which is the fact that if it wasn't your dad,
I was about to say
what would you have done? So you've got to take a decision with a clear mind and a clean heart, all right? And the only way you can do that is you've got to genuinely forgive your dad, right, from this particular situation. And how do you do that? Number one, there are so many conversations. Number two would be, how are you sure you are even a match to start with? Because by the time they do all the tests and stuff, and then you really would. So, but the real question is that you've got to forgive your dad from the very depth of your heart in such a way that you're not clouded by unforgiveness, and unforgiveness can ruin you completely. All right. And there are so many things that happens. You might actually there's a tendency that people can actually discover that they also have that same challenge in the future. You refuse to give out your kidney, and then you have that particular situation and all. So you've got to take a decision without you being encumbered with guilt, and I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying that, is this something you would have done if your dad was in the best position? And if he was in the best position, that means you would have taken a risk, or it would be an emotional decision. All right. So you've got to take every decision you take without any form of emotion, but be logical about it at the same time.
Yeah. So your family are speaking to you, and then you are asking us if we should affirm that your decision, whether you should attend to your absent father. So just like I told you in his mail topic title, absent father's kidneys transplant request. So there are 3 different things. There's the absent father, there's the kidney transplant, there's the request. So you have to actually forgive your father. I mean, thank God that you grew in grace. God has blessed you. You are 30. You didn't die along the line. It's not like you fell ill. So God made you witness him, you grow. So you have to deal that, forgive him and move on, because if you don't forgive him, you are just disturbing yourself. Right. There's a lot of resentment that you're crying on, and there are generations that are attached to you that might pick it up, which wouldn't really be a good feel and effect. Now, kidney transplant. He has a situation. You have to be compassionate, irrespective of somebody's life. It doesn't have to even be your kidney.
Right.
You can make effort in looking for a match because it has to be consented. It's a consent, and nobody can force me or speak to me to come and give my kidney if I don't want to give, even if I've forgiven you. But your attitude towards this man that needs help goes a long way.
Right.
So you must be ready to, as a son, stand in that space and say, you know what? This is my own quota. This is my own effort. This is the update. Mom, can we try this? I've seen this one. Yes, mine is, even if yours is a match, you can say, you know what, we can look for that. It's not all the time that is your father or your mother that give your kidney. Sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's partner. So, come sir. Then again, the request is another thing. The fact that they are coming to you to have this conversation might even be a decoy. The real thing that they might want to do is to merge or to reconcile, because of course he has children too. Why is every finger pointing towards you in getting the right kidney? So maybe what they actually want to achieve in this process of your father's vulnerable moment is to mend that gap. Maybe genuinely the guy has been yearning for you. He loves you so much. He's not been able to get through to you because you've got your mind made up, or you're supporting your mom that, oh, daddy left us and he made us. So they want to mend that broken relationship. So I think you should consider all these three things and make
a decision.
Right, and be praying for him too, for God to heal him completely. So Temi, I hope we've been able to address your issue. Now to the last mail from today's episode. Lack of communication from Ava from South Africa. Ava said, "Hi Mailbox, I've been married for 6 years, but my husband barely communicates with me. He gives one word answer, avoids meaningful conversations, talks freely only with others. I've tried addressing it, but it always ends with me being blamed. Separation isn't an option, but I feel like I'm walking on eggshell around him. How can I cope with this behavior and protect my peace without losing myself?"
Every problem has an expiry, and before the expiry, I'm sure you didn't get forced into the relationship, into the marriage under duress. There was conversation, there was communication. So if communication broke down, you've got to retrace your steps back into how this thing broke down. The same man communicates with other people, have conversations with other people. There's a tendency of, let me use the word, we use this in Nigeria, called see finish, that you guys have been in each other's hair for quite a while, and so you've taken each other for granted. Sometimes some of these things are actually repairable when you go on holidays, because when you even have a new project, you know, if you have a new project, say for instance, I'm not saying you should manufacture a new project now just for this particular sake. And this is why, so there are several options, but the options are always presentable when somebody is yearning for reconciliation. So what part, and you've got to begin to deal that part. What part did you play in how the relationship got broken, how the communication broke down? If you can attest to that thing, which is look at yourself in the mirror, do an assessment of your part in this entire conversation truthfully. And let's say, for instance, even if it's you type a message and you say to him, I think we've come to this particular point And here are things that I think I did in making this relationship break down. And if he's sincere and genuine enough, he would want to have that conversation with you.
Right.
And that's the first point of call, because a lot of the time people try to address the problem, but they don't want to address their own part on how the situation actually got worse. So if you can address your own part sincerely, present it to him, he will be more than willing to have that conversations. I want to believe that.
Right.
And I hope that helps.
Yeah, so lack of communication, you can't afford to not communicate. And thank God, he's still giving monosyllables.
Right.
At least it's different from the fact that he's not talking
Blank
to me.
out.
You know, maybe you're always arguing. Maybe you're always in his truth. There might be 1,001 issue that you won't be telling us. Because of course, naturally, there won't be any human being that would now want to say, oh, my wife. And he is responding to people out there. So it means that there's a big elephant in the room that you both need to address. And in addressing issue of communication, you can't shove it on people's neck. You can't want to resolve issue at your own pace in your time, because people are like that in relationship.
Right.
They just feel, when I feel I'm feeling a kind of way, I just want to talk. They say we should communicate. Let's communicate. Sometimes it's not so much of communication. Sometimes even in the action and transparency. When you begin to shift in how you react, how you respond, what you do, you're also communicating. So most times, a form of communication is not me sitting you down to say, oh, Wale, let's have this conversation. Oh yeah, this, what do you think? People think it's always confrontational. But communication is an action word. It can be you changing how you dress, changing how you respond, the kind of friend, the things you do. Maybe there are things that this guy has been flagging to say, madam, you can't be sitting in front of the TV and be watching Indian, people that have charity, people watching some kind of thing. They say it all the time. And it's looking like you are not listening. You are just caught out in your own ways. And now the guy stops talking, or the lady stops talking. And then you now say the person is quiet. The person is not quiet. This your lack of communication. He's already communicating to you, not talking, or him expressing himself in a certain way is a form of communication. So you too, try and change your modus operandi. Look, so you've spoken. It's not talk. The matter is not talk.
Right.
You have to pray, but there's also an action word. If you are showing love, genuinely show the love. Don't be seeing the negation in marriage, because if you keep growing this conversation, it might turn to something else.
Right.
Because it will get to a point that there will be a paradigm shift whereby it will even now cease communication. And it's at that point where people cease communication that they pack out.
Right.
Because there's really no point. And I'm sure in this marriage too, most times is when you don't have children involved. Because sometimes even if you want to fight, there's assignments.
There's a project.
There's project. The child is saying, So sometimes you even find out that half of the time that you meant conversation is because there's a mini you in between that doesn't know. The innocent children, they are just doing business as usual. So I think you shouldn't see the form of lack of communication as what you people say. And then you in communicating to him, don't see that as when you guys sit down to communicate. There are other things that initially used to get him excited, make him happy, make you guys feel lovey-dovey. Maybe you want to reapply it again into the marriage, and God will help you as you begin to see the beauty in your relationship. So, Eva from South Africa, I hope you've been able to address your mail. That'll be all on this episode of Mailbox. Till next time, my name is Adesha.
And I'm Olawale.
Yeah.
Peace.